Alright, hello everybody. I'm the Dependent Fanatic here, and I have the day off tomorrow. So, this is a perfect time to do my power ranking. Going into conference championship week, and it has been, as you can see, I'm a Michigan fan. Man, it has been a glorious week. We beat Ohio State, got Underwood the week before. The Michigan basketball team just went into Madison, Wisconsin, and beat unbeaten number 11, Wisconsin in basketball. You have Michigan replacing offensive coordinators. Kirk Campbell has been relieved of his duties by Sharon Moore, but that's a lot in 1 week. But power rankings right now. Here we go. I think your national champion is going to be Oregon. I think they're going to go undefeated. They're number 1 in the college football playoff ranking, which came out tonight. So after seeing that, I think they're a little bit off. I really do. Their number 2 team and their number 1 team are right on. You have Oregon at number 1, Texas at number 2, 11-1. The resume ranking has them at number 5. Oregon and Texas are complete teams, okay? Elite quarterback play, great trenches, and a great ground game to go along with a great defense. Both of them teams are destined to play in the national championship game, in my opinion. Number 3 for me is Georgia. All right, they're 10-2. Georgia has a lot of that greatness all the way around, but not quite elite. Is Carson Beck good enough? Are the receivers going to continue to let down Carson Beck with all them drops? I think Georgia's a really good team, just hasn't come together, and Georgia Tech gave them a wake-up call. We'll see what they can do versus number 2 Texas in the conference championship. Number 4 for me is Notre Dame, 11-1. Notre Dame needs to play somebody great, though, and they will coming up in this playoff because they're getting in even though they are not playing in a conference championship. Number 5 is SMU. They are 11-1. The College Football Playoff Committee has them at number 8. Or they're number 5 for me. Number 8 for the College Football Playoff Committee. Number 3 in the resume ranking. So the resume is good. TCU, at Louisville, at Duke, Pitt, and Boston College. All playoff teams. Their only losses to BYU at home. But they're still pretty good. SMU is an interesting team. How good is the ACC? Is my question. We'll find out if they can beat Clemson in their championship game. And I'm going to do picks at the end of this video for every conference championship game this week, so stay tuned. Ohio State stays top 6. I think SMU could probably beat them. But listen, Ohio State could be a problem in this playoff going forward. They're still uber talented. Michigan is not in this playoff, so they're not going to get starstruck by anybody. Michigan's not in there. So they could easily beat anyone on this team. They were within 1 point of Oregon, right? So number 7 for me is Tennessee. They're the 7th best team, 10-2 as well. Number 7 in the college football playoff ranking. Tennessee has good trenches on both sides of the ball, and their defense is really good. I'd like to see the quarterback be a little bit more efficient. They're a good team in the SEC. They've beaten Florida and Alabama. but they lost to Arkansas on the road. So there needs to be some consistency there in the playoff. But I think they are in, and so does the playoff committee. Number 8 for me is Boise State, and the committee has them at number 10. So does the resume ranking. I have them ahead of them because Boise State might not have the defense needed to win, but they have Matic, whatever the quarterback's name is, who was pretty darn good the last couple of games, and Genty, the Heisman Trophy winner, in my opinion. Their only loss is to Oregon on the road. They've had some close victories. We'll see what they can do versus UNLV, and I'll tell you what they'll do. All right, number 9 is Penn State for me in the power ranking. They're 11-1. Yes, the committee has them all the way up at number 3. I don't understand it. I don't trust Drew Aller at quarterback. Everything else, the trenches is pretty good, the defense. But who have they played? They've only beaten Illinois at home. That's it. They lost by far to Ohio State. So, who lost to Michigan. So they're number 9 for me. Number 10 is Alabama still. 9-3 team. Listen, the resume ranking has them all the way down at number 15. The college football playoff ranking has them at number 11, still in the playoff. When will Jalen Milroe learn how to be a game manager? Because Alabama has talent all across the board. And when will Kalen DeBoer put him in a position to win some of these big games? But man, they have. They beat Georgia, they beat South Carolina, they beat Missouri, they won at LSU. The loss at Vanderbilt is their worst one, and it's not good. But I still think they're the 10th best team in the nation. Number 11 is South Carolina. All right. It comes down to South Carolina, Indiana, Iowa State, and Arizona State for this 11th spot. I think South Carolina would beat Indiana, Iowa State, or Arizona State. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think they're the number 11 team in the nation. Wins versus Texas A&M, Missouri, and then at Clemson this past week. And Clemson hasn't been in the resume ranking or in my ranking all season long because they have no good wins. And that's why I ask, how good is the ACC really? But Clemson is a good team. And South Carolina went in there and won that. So, Indiana's number 12 for me, 11-1. They don't have the lines of scrimmage, but they have some pretty good playmakers. So there you go. And then the Iowa State, Arizona State winner is 13-14 for me. The winner of that is going to be in the playoff. So it would be seeded like this. Let's do some seeding and a playoff scenario, and then I'll tell you my picks for the conference championship games this week. But Oregon would be number 1. Texas would be number 2. SMU would be number 3, actually, because they won the conference championship. The top 4 conference title winners get a first-round bye. They're seeded 1 through 4. Boise State is number 4 for me. Notre Dame then would come in at number 5, even though I think they're the 4th best team. Georgia would be number 6. Even though I think they're the 3rd best team. Ohio State would be number 7, even though I think they're the 6th best team. Number 8, Tennessee would be number 8, the 7th best team, I think. Penn State is number 9. Alabama would be number 10. South Carolina would be number 11. And, the winner of the Iowa State-Arizona State game, I put them at number 12, but they probably will get a bump over Alabama, South Carolina. But doesn't really matter because these are home games for 5 through 8. So Notre Dame gets a home game versus them. Notre Dame's going to advance to the Elite Eight. Georgia, I think, beats South Carolina in a rematch this season. That's what it would be. Number 6 seed versus the number 11 seed. Georgia gets a home game, and they advance to the Elite Eight. I think Ohio State would beat Alabama in this scenario, and Ohio State goes to the Elite Eight. And then Tennessee would beat Penn State at home in Knoxville, and Tennessee would go to the Elite Eight. So it would be like this: Notre Dame versus Boise State. I think Notre Dame's the better team. I think Notre Dame would advance to the Final Four. Georgia's better than SMU. Georgia advances to the Final Four. Ohio State is not better than Texas. I think Texas, the 2 seed, advances. And then Tennessee is not better than the 1 seed, Oregon. Oregon advances. So the Final Four would be like this: Oregon, a 14-0 team at this point, taking on 13-1 Notre Dame. Oregon beats Notre Dame. Texas, a 13-1 team at this point, is going to play Georgia again for the 3rd time this season. And Texas wins this time yet again. They win the conference championship game and then the playoff game. But Texas meets Oregon in the national title. And as I said, I think Oregon is the most complete team in the nation. The best quarterback, running back, wide receiver duo. They have offensive linemen for days. And they have Dan Lanning on defense. And he knows his defense, and all of the players on there are great as well. So let's talk picks, huh? Conference championship picks. On Friday, we have 3 games. At 7 o'clock, Western Kentucky is facing Jacksonville in the Conference USA championship game. Jacksonville is favored by 3.5 points. I think Western Kentucky wins by 8, 38-30. I'm going to bet this game. At 8 o'clock on Friday, UNLV is taking on Boise State for the 2nd time this season. Boise State won the first meeting. They're favored by 4 points. I think Boise State wins 27-23. That's 4 points. Right on my number, so I'm staying away from that game. Tulane is playing Army. Tulane is favored by 5 points in this game, and I think they win by 7 points, 24-17. I think Army's ground game will limit time and possessions for Tulane, but Tulane is just good enough to get by Army by a touchdown. But it's a Friday game. I don't like Friday games. I'm staying away. I did like the Western Kentucky one, but these ones, no. Saturday at noon, Iowa State is playing Arizona State for the Big 12 championship. Arizona State's favored by 2. I think they win by 8. I'm going to bet this game. I have Arizona State winning 28-20 over Iowa State. So give me Arizona State minus 2 points. At noon as well, Ohio from the MAC is playing Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is favored in this game with a worse record, 2.5 points. Ohio is going to win this game, 34-24. Book it. I'm going to bet it. Give me Ohio minus 2.5. All right. Georgia versus Texas is at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Texas is favored by 2.5 points right now, and I think they win by 4. I think Texas wins 27-23. I'm going to lay the 2.5 points, and I'm going to bet Texas to win. All right, to cover, that is. At 7:30, Marshall is at the University of Louisiana It used to be Lafayette. Are they still in Lafayette? That's why I always had ULL. I've had that for decades. I've seen UL now recently, but isn't that like Louisville or something? I don't understand the abbreviations anymore, but I'm going to stick to what I have. ULL, Louisiana, is favored by 5.5 points. Marshall wins this game 24-23. I'm going to take Marshall plus 5.5 points, and I'll bet that. At 8 o'clock, it's the Big Ten title game, and it's Penn State versus Oregon. Oregon's only favored by 3.5 points. That's way too low. Oregon's going to demolish Penn State 31-17. That's a 14-point win for Oregon. I'm going to bet Oregon minus 3.5 points. And then at 8 o'clock as well on Saturday night, the ACC title game. Clemson versus SMU. Now, SMU is favored by 2.5 points in this game, and I want to pick the over. But my score prediction was SMU 33, Clemson 31, and kind of a shootout. Maybe Clemson misses a 2-point conversion. Maybe SMU gets a safety in a lucky type of a play. I'm not betting that game at all. So here you go. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bets this week. I'm going to bet Western Kentucky plus 3.5. I'm going to bet Arizona State minus 2. I'm going to bet Ohio plus 2.5. I'm going to bet Texas minus 2.5. I'm going to bet Marshall plus 5.5. And then Oregon minus 3.5 points. Am I close? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a great week. Hopefully it continues in recruiting for Michigan. Let's see. Have a great night, everybody, and go blue.